It's only entertainment.
Welcome back to the Talking Hedge. I'm Josh Kincaid, Capital Markets Analyst and host of your Cannabis Business Podcast.
All right, we're here in Las Vegas for MJ Unpacked. I'm here with Elad Barak, founder and CEO of Voyager, precise dosing mechanism. Elad, thanks for being with us at the Talking Hedge.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about your product. We've had you on the podcast before with a pitch deck review, your investment deck, and now we're here together seeing your product for the first time, or maybe the second time.
Yeah, so before we only showed it in video, but now you can actually experience it.
Yeah.
But a quick reminder for your question. Essentially what Voyager does is we allow companies that have cannabis in a liquid form, whether it's oils or water soluble, more for people that want to ingest or drink it or eat it, to have it in a pod format where they can just dispense it for themselves very accurately. And I show what I mean. So this is our box that comes with a dispenser and a pod. The dispenser is your one-time purchase, kind of like your curing machine or an espresso machine. And then you take a pod. You can have multiple pods with THC, with CBD, or just different strains, whatever you like, different brands. And all you need to do is slide it in. Probably do it to this direction. You slide it in, you turn it on. The dispenser can recognize the pod and then allow you to dispense it accurately. But you were asking me before about child safety, so I actually turned this on with a password.
Okay.
So you cannot use this dispenser without a password. So that's one way to make it childproof.
So this white portion that you have here is the equivalent to a vaporizer.
It is
and
exactly
then
the
the
same
bottom
thing.
part you would get at a rec shop similar to a cart.
Exactly.
And then that just clips in similar. This isn't childproof. That's more accurate dosing. This is not.
Absolutely.
That's more of a, that's not smoking obviously or vaping. This is ingesting, so it's more healthy.
Yeah. So essentially how it works is, I'll just put the password 1 second so we can move on from this, but I just need to kind of add our password. At this moment, to fit a good engineering company, it's 314. But once you're in, then the dispenser can work and you can operate the pod. But I'll give a quick demonstration before we dive in. This pod is actually full. And what you do is you hold it above your beverage, and I hope they can see it in the camera. But I press and I get an accurate dose.
Yeah.
And I can literally play with the dosage here on a milligram level. This is just oil, so it will float in the water.
Yeah.
But if in Canada we have water-soluble product
Right.
that you can just add inside. So that's how the pod works, and you can change the dose. The nice thing is the dispenser not only allows you to control the dose, it tracks everything for you.
When you say control the dose, can I have each drop be 100 milligrams or 5 milligrams?
Absolutely. So
Okay.
you can literally control it on a milligram level.
So it's not about it's not about volume. So you're not
No.
just dispensing a lot of volume to make up for the 100 milligrams. It's actually just giving you that precise dosage.
We're changing the game from that perspective. So right now when a consumer buys a bottle of oil and says, I want to get 5 milligrams out of it, they need to say, well, how many milligrams I have per milliliter, do some math in their head, and then try to measure that amount of milliliters. We obviously need to do the same, but we have a computer in this dispenser that does all of that for you. So when you say, I want to get 5 milligrams, the dispenser communicates with the pod and asks the pod, what is 5 milligrams? It teaches it, and then it just sends the right accurate operation to make the pod dispense exactly 5 milligrams. You don't need to do any math. Now, if the regulator, for example, like in Canada, says 10 milligrams is the max, then the dispenser won't let you do more than 10 milligrams every time you press it. So if you want 100, you'll need to press 10 times, right? But if you're in a place where there's no regulation like that, then the pod won't have that issue, right? You'll be able to just dispense 100 milligrams. So it's just very simple, but it tracks everything, as I mentioned, in your app, so you can know what you're doing. You can know, okay, I took 5 milligrams of THC this morning, 5 milligrams in the afternoon, 20 milligrams of CBD at night, and it can also tell you, this pod is almost empty, you should go purchase a new one, and allow us to start learning how consumers use cannabis, because we can track all of that information and really start to learn how consumers are using cannabis, which is something that we don't really know today.
What does that visually look like for consumers? So if I'm buying a pod, one of these cartridges, and I find this really good, euphoric, uplifting, energetic experience that I want to replicate, but maybe that particular cultivar or brand isn't available, and so I move on to something else and I figure out I don't like it. Visually, how does that look? What is a user interface, and how do I determine down the road, how do I look back and say, oh yeah, that's the experience I remember by this graph or whatever? What does that look like?
So the nice thing is that we're doing the hardware, right? We're enabling all the other companies to buy these pods empty from us, put their product inside and sell it to the consumer. But because we can track everything, the consumer has an option to go to the app and say, I like this, I didn't like it. I need a higher dosage, I need a lower dosage. It's very easy to track when we're already writing for you what you did. All you need to say is if it was good for you, right? Which we're kind of doing half of the work. But even if you remember the afterwards, you can look what you did or what you used. The other nice thing is, again, this is more the companies we work with. When you go to the oil format or the water soluble, these companies can be a bit more consistent in what they're giving their consumers compared to dry leaf, right? So from that perspective, you are going to get a bit more consistent, but that's on the companies, not on us in the end of the day. But yeah, the app just allows you to really learn your habits better, improve them. You know, some people call it biohacking, right? But just allows you to do it better. And to that point, cannabis is just the starting point, right? Tomorrow it can be psychedelics, it can be vitamins, it can be OTC, different medication, opioids. We're already starting to get interest from other companies from outside of cannabis for sleep aids. So there's different things that we can do with this product that we can take afterwards. So this is just a starting point.
What do you say to some skeptical users, people who would prefer the ready-to-drink, the RTDs, grab and go, versus this that still requires, a beverage?
Yeah.
So this is a component or a part of. How do you? What's your response to skeptical investors or people who really don't understand the coupling that goes with the beverage?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think one of the issues is that the beverage industry is a bit going slower than what we expected because we're not giving the perfect solution for consumers. We're trying to force them a beverage that they may or may not like in a dose that they may or may not need. And you and I are both a bit heavy users. If we're going to need to drink a can with 5 milligrams or even 10 milligrams, we're going to need to go a lot to the washroom because we're going to need more than one can probably. So it just doesn't really fit all the consumers. But I think above that, if you want to break down the structure of the cost of those beverages, you'll see that the beverage that costs, let's say, $5, 50 cents will be the cannabis, $4.50 will be all the rest. And the consumer needs to pay all of that. We can sell it much cheaper to the consumer. So I can sell for a starter pack for $35, a dispenser and a pod with a 24 pack, 240 milligrams. And that will cost probably, I don't know, around $350 maybe, or $100 and something for the consumer. So I'm just doing a much better service to the consumer. Now they can use any drink they want, whether it's coffee in the morning or tea in the evening, and they can do their own dose, and they're doing it for a much more affordable cost.
Okay. What is the expected market share? And maybe you can compare that to Mio. Have you heard of Mio?
Yeah, absolutely.
So and maybe people haven't. That's just a syrup concentrate that you put in water to flavor your beverage. So we're not talking about flavor here, but I'm curious, what market share do, I don't even know what that's called, the droplets
so
or whatever.
it's make it at your home.
Okay.
And it's a great question. They usually have a bigger, if you go to most of the grocery stores, you'll see that they have a big part of the shelf.
They do now.
For home use, people will usually do that. The cans, the bottles, they're for the grab and go, right? But you also have this other concept, which is called arm's reach. And when you want to go and buy a 12-pack or a 2-4-pack of beers, you can do that. You can have a bunch of beers if you have that arm reach. You don't need to go to the dispensary and buy 4 bottles and another 4 bottles of beer, another 4 bottles of beer. So from the perspective of if you're going to use this at home, I am sure that this is a much more efficient way than having a ready-to-drink, because that's how it works with the Mio, to your question. If you're asking me, hey, when people go out, I don't see them with a Mio, I agree. This is a bit more designed and fashionable for Mio. But also, again, it allows you to have that arm's reach that today you don't have with bottles. So I think that, kind of gives that extra.
I'd like to see this made out of hemp plastic, make it biodegradable, recycled materials. What kind of attention have you got, if any, from social responsible investing, SRI, or ESG, environmental social governance? Is that a sector that you're interested in, and are you getting noticed from that sector?
Yeah, I have a great answer for that. Usually when I say it, people they get convinced fairly easy. But a lot of people ask us, well, wait, it's plastic. Aren't we adding, something, that is not good for the environment? The real answer is, I can put more than 100 bottles in this. I'm using substantially less plastic than what you would have used if you would have bought bottles. I am way more green. And I can send it for recycling because this is mainly plastic. There's almost nothing except plastic in our pods. That's one of the ways we keep them low cost for us to manufacture. And we will put, exactly, you have the bins to collect the cartridges for vaping and different dispensaries. We will have bins to collect the pods so we can recycle them. But it's way more clean because you're using less plastic. So the truth is this is cleaner than a bottle. And there's less traffic of, you don't need to ship all the liquid, so you're doing less pollution. It's just a cleaner way, cleaner approach in general.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the next steps for you? We're here at MJ Impact. What's your expectation? What's your takeaway?
So we just started. This looks awesome. I really like the setup. But I'll answer the first part of the question, if I may. And you asked what else is to update. I think the interesting part is last time I did a pitch, we got an investment from a VC called Draper Cygnus. They're part of the Draper network. So that's big news for us. And with that investment, we have a few investors that are following on. So we have 1 million out of the 1.6 million we're raising.
That's great.
Already done. And we're hoping here in MJ Biz to meet those last investors to come in and fill the rest of the round.
What's an investor get for the remaining amount? What's the terms?
Yeah. So essentially we're doing 6.4 million pre-money valuation and 8 million post. So if one investor would have bought all the 1.6 million, they would have get 20% of the company. And from there, it's a linear calculation. So 600 is not easy, 600 out of 16.
So is that a post-money valuation of 30 million?
No. Pre-money is 6.4, post is 8.
Oh, okay.
8 million.
Okay.
We're modest, we're growing, and it's okay. But I think, it's a great, valuation to continue growing from.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are you hoping to grab out of Cannabis Week here in Vegas? You're from Toronto,
yeah,
right? So you came internationally to come down. You got the MJ Impact, and you also have the MJ BizCon and all this stuff. So what are a couple of goals that you're hoping to accomplish?
So we really want to meet some of the MSOs. We've seen some movement with MSOs around products around this thing. So if you look in Select Squeeze is what we're doing, just with a bit less sophistication. So we can really upgrade their game. Or we can work with another MSO to have a better product to compete. So we're very happy. We have already a few meetings set up with MSOs in the event. We're hoping to meet a few more, a few of the bigger brands, and find our first partners to start this product.
That'll be exciting.
Yeah.
What's that going to look like? It's basically an MSO in the U.S. to carry your product across multiple states. What's that going to look like?
So
how's that
these
going to work?
pods will have their brand on them, and it will be their product essentially. So if, let's say, again, just taking it as an example, Company X wants to do this, then it will be, Company X pods.
Okay.
The dispenser is exactly like the PAX model, will be our dispensers, our brand, and the idea is to have a network, right? There's obviously always a chance that somebody will come and say we want it all, and at this stage, everything is on the table. But
so it's pretty cut and dry. You have a pod here. You sell that wholesale. They fill it. They brand it. They sell it, and that's easy.
Yeah, and then with the dispenser that we manage the network, we collect all the information for them and allow them to start learning about their consumers. I can know where a pod was bought because every pod is unique, and what dispensary it was bought, where it's used, how much it's used. I can learn a lot of things, and the companies can learn with me. And if a pod is almost empty, I can send the consumer a notification suggesting to buy a new one, and even share where's the closest locations because I know their place on their phone. So there's a lot of things you can do with data that we didn't already bring to cannabis, right? Some companies did it like PAX, but not a lot. So we're trying to do the same thing and bring some technology and really, empower and enable more things for the different companies. And I think the big MSOs, they should take advantage.
This is a demo, I'm assuming, or an MVP, right? In the future, would you be able to have a clear panel here so that the cart, when they brand the cart and they pop that in, you see the brand?
So absolutely, this is just plastic. What's unique about this is our PCB inside. We're very proud of it because we developed it in-house, so it's all our technology. But this is a piece of plastic. You can keep it clear in the middle. You can have it different colors. We have a design for something that's more medical, a design for something that's more social. We designed it to be small. It's smaller than a phone. So
you probably do a phone case for that too, all kinds of
accessories. It's smaller than a phone, so it fits in your pocket. But we really wanted to say, like, hey, if you want to own it, so let's say I'm meeting with you in a bar or something, I can put it in my drink and put it like this so I can own it. And you will see it, and I will have a conversation about it with you and maybe share if I want. So we wanted to have both options to kind of have it discreet, or you can own the experience, so it stands nicely if you want. But yeah, the plastic can change, and it can also be the hemp plastic. We actually have been speaking with one of the companies that does hemp plastic.
Awesome.
So it's just a bit further away, but we are.
If there's hemp manufacturers or investors or just MSOs that are curious about it, or consumers alike, where can they find more information at? Where are you at?
Yeah, sure. So we're very active on LinkedIn, so that's always a good place to find us. But also we have investors at voyagerproducts.ca and partners at voyagerproducts.ca, or you can just email me directly at Elad, E-L-A-D, at voyagersproducts.ca.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we'll also put Elad's LinkedIn information in the description, in the show notes, along with Voyager's website, so check that out. With that, I think we're going to roll this one up. I want to thank my guest, Elad Barak, founder and CEO of Voyager.
Thank you.
Elad, appreciate you being on the Talking Hedge.
Thank you so much.
All right, I'm Josh Kincaid. This is the Talking Hedge. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, or don't, and I'm out.
Don't forget to smash that like button on your way out and check out these other videos that we've got.